everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Soliman, and this episode is all about the importance of business support. So whether you are a small business or a large corporation, business support and outsourcing is super important to maintain productivity. Now, who better to talk about that than President and CEO of Tuxedo Impressions, Jamara Wilson. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Tuxedo Impressions and what exactly you guys do.
Well, Tuxedo Impressions. So we are a small business that helps other small businesses establish efficiency in their organization. But we do it in a way where we help them systematize and automate their operations. So essentially, we help them get things done.
I love that. And getting things done is super important. I know for myself as a small business owner, outsourcing and efficiency are key to growth. So how did you start Tuxedo Impressions, and why did you see the need to, have something that supports businesses?
Well, I started Tuxedo Impressions remotely, which we still do run a remote organization. The reason for it is because I came out of corporate America. There were several organizations or businesses where I worked for, and I will always see a loophole in their processes. So because of that, and then trying to speak up and let them know and be aware of something that could be changed, it grew out of frustration. So Tuxedo Impressions came out of a place of frustration and then a place of wanting more and a place of need. So coming out and starting Tuxedo Impressions, it was mainly about helping other small businesses see the problem, fix the problem, and give them more time to do things that they need to do in order to actually run their business.
All right, so Tuxedo Impressions came out of frustration, but it turned into something beautiful for so many businesses. So let's talk about those loopholes that you were taking note of, because I think it's important for folks that are watching to maybe, analyze their own business and see if some of these loopholes can relate to them that they may not even realize are loopholes in their own business.
Right. So before I became an entrepreneur myself, I would interact and network and meet with other entrepreneurs. And one of the common things I would hear them say is, I don't have the time. I want to do this, but I don't have the time. I need to do that, but I don't know how to do that. I need to find someone to do those things. It became a common thread. It became a common statement of someone that was a small business owner where they felt like they did not have the time. So some of those loopholes that may come about are managing their payroll. Another thing that may come about is content marketing. Another thing is social media marketing. People know they have to do it, may not enjoy doing it. So those are some of the common things that come out with a lot of the small businesses.
Yeah, and even if you do have someone, especially you mentioned social media, like technology has sort of taken over, right?
Yes, it has.
Even if you do have someone internally working in that department and managing your social media, it still may be vital to sort of outsource some other portions of your social media, or maybe even have someone that works with someone internally in your office to hold each other accountable, right?
Exactly, because when you think of social media, it's not just about posting. You have to find the content, curate the content, create the graphics that may be involved with that, schedule those things out to make sure they're still automated. So there's a lot that goes involved with social media management or social media marketing.
Now, it's also about maybe developing new ideas for these businesses, right? So they may not have time to, let's say, plan an event of some sort for their clients, but it may be something that is on their wish list, if you will. So how do you kind of come in and help manage that?
Well, usually what happens is that I come across someone, or someone approaches us with a need. So they have a frustration. They recognize they have a frustration. They may not understand exactly what that frustration is or where it came from, what's actually causing them to take up all of their time. So what we do is we hear that, we kind of consult, question, and kind of probe to figure out what their system is like, what their process is like, literally from beginning to end. So if we were to say, okay, if someone comes in, how do you turn that potential prospect into a client? Literally walk me through that entire process. Okay, once they go through that process with me, then how do you handle them once they are actually in the door? And from that process, when listening to them, we then be able to understand and find the loophole. This is where your problem is. This is where your problem is. This needs to be fine-tuned. This is where all of the time has been taken up, because if you are a business owner, you are the CEO, if you're responsible for revenue, then you need that time to generate revenue. You need that time to generate income, to sales acquisition, to find more clients, or if you're a nonprofit, fundraise. So that's where we come in and we learn what is the loophole, where is the problem inside of your process.
And I think it's also important to note that sometimes business owners, especially if you're just starting out, you're sort of hesitant to grow your own team, right? You're like, oh, if I have someone sitting, in my office in front of me all day, every day, and we're not super busy, then you feel like you're sort of paying for that person to be there, but there's not really much productivity coming from them. So how does outsourcing alleviate that anxiousness?
Well, before a business even needs to think about outsourcing, you need to know what it is that you want to outsource, right? Because if you have a product, you have a physical product, right? Not necessarily a service, but a product. If you're the only one that can make that product, if it's a handcraft piece of jewelry, then that's something that you have to do yourself. But creating the logo for that product or helping with the brand for that product, then that's something a business can outsource. So you have to first determine what it is that you can outsource. Content marketing, you can outsource. We spoke about social media marketing, you can outsource. Graphic design, you can outsource. Bookkeeping, accounting, those things you can outsource. So as long as a small business understands that those things that you don't have to do, those things that are going to pull you away from, again, generating revenue, which is what you're in business for, those are the things that you can outsource. Those things you are not an expert in or don't like to do.
And from your experience, I mean, it's not just small businesses in today's world. I mean, even large companies are outsourcing some of their work, some of the needs that you just mentioned. So why is that? For large companies, why do they still find it so vital to reach out to third parties and make things happen?
Well, right now it's because of technology. Before, you had people in the workforce where they may have left the workforce to be freelancers or to start their own businesses. Well, now with technology, you have an entire platform for exposure and visibility, right? So that gives you also the ability to work remotely. And because of that, large companies now have the ability to outsource things, again, like graphic design, things like infrastructure when it comes to their IT, things like web design. Those things large companies can now outsource because people have the platform. Things like Freelancer, Fiverr, Upwork, those things, they can go and find people that can actually do those things for them.
And what has been the feedback or the response? How have you really seen clients grow through using companies like Tuxedo Impressions to outsource?
It frees up their time. It really does freeze up a lot of their time. And as a small business owner myself and a lot of the other small business owners that I've worked with, one of the things that they complain about is not having enough time to do what the thing they need to do in order to build their business, right? Because you don't want to get caught up in working on your business. Working in your business, you need to be working on your business. And what I mean is that you can get caught up in all of the busy work, but you're forgetting that you still have a pipeline and clients to bring in. So a case study of mine that I like speaking about is I worked with a client that when I started working with him in his business, he had 2 contractors working for him, right? And over a period of about 14 months, literally 14 months, we grew from 2 contractors to now 28 employees. So from that, this young man was in a position to where he was literally working day in, day out, early in the morning from 4 o'clock in the morning, coming home and late at night. He has a family, wife, and 2 kids. Did not have time for anything. He was literally the one hands-on inside of his business. Whereas now he has 28 other employees that can do those things. He's working on proposals. So now that piece of the puzzle in his process, in his business, has been set. We've established that process. Managing the staff has been established. Now you have things that we need to work on when it comes to proposals, generating income, and things like that.
Well, Jamara, thank you so much for joining us on this segment. Great information shared here today. And if you look below in the description box, you'll see all of the resources that were mentioned here and more for your convenience. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday as we learn all about healthy relationships in the workplace. So this segment is called Entrepreneurship for the Taking. And that's exactly what entrepreneur means. I'm going to break it down for you in French. Yes, I speak French.